Happy Monday to you. This is John McEntyre Money Show Live. I'm yours truly, John McEntyre. Today is Monday, July 21st, 2025. Got it right for a change off the first try. I know that it's actually the 21st today. Everyone's like, do you ever get the date right? Yes, I finally got it right today. But hope everyone had a good weekend. Um, Definitely was a lot of heat out there, but hopefully everyone had, healthy and safe, fun, love-filled weekend. Today's show is specifically for retirees. I want to talk because one thing I did, I spent the weekend looking at this big beautiful bill that has been passed, and I've been receiving a lot of questions about it, especially receiving the calls. And I'm at the gym, and like I say, our gym is in pretty much the area that where we live is it's very retiree heavy. um, and I received phone calls from friends in other parts of the United States, wanting to know, what is this big beautiful bill all about that has been passed. And so and so I wanted to make sure and address it, even though it affects all Americans, not all, but there's a particular segment of the population that has to really be careful with this bill, and it is the retiree. So I just want to talk to the retiree today. I don't want to spend a lot of time because talking about it, it could take a long time to really talk about the benefits and the drawbacks of it. But today I just want to talk to the retirees because that's where I received the most questions from. And this bill is making some serious headlines, and I want it's basically an expansion on the 2017 Tax Cuts and Job Act. uh, and this legislation, it includes a mix of tax breaks and potential very serious potential pitfalls that could impact our seniors and retirees for years. So this is for the people that are retired or will soon be retiring. This could also affect you. And one of the major drawbacks of it, it's going to affect us even after the people that proposed and passed this bill. They'll be long gone, and America will still be feeling the effects of this bill in a small good way, but in a big negative way. So let's just get into this thing. Potential benefits. Let's just talk about a few of the potential benefits for seniors. Number one that I saw, um, there's a $6,000 senior bonus deduction. And this is probably one of the most direct benefits that's proposed for seniors. And this is for Americans 65 years old and older. It applies to those with the modified adjustment income, gross income under 75,000 for individuals, under 150,000 for joint filers. So that means the deduction is $6,000 for an individual, $12,000 for a married couple, with the modified adjusted gross income of under $150,000. Um, and a benefit, this, like I said, this is one of the biggest benefits of it. Uh, Whether you itemize or not on your taxes, you can actually use this deduction, and that is some good flexibility for retirees. That is a good flexible thing, to be able to, you don't even have to itemize. It's just a standard deduction. Um, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Um, Tax deduction expansion. Number two, another potential benefit. The this tax credit job act, it temporarily increased the standard deduction, making, filing taxes simpler for many of us Americans out there. But this new bill makes it permanent. Um, that's a good thing. That it's permanent. It won't go away. It was set to expire, but it has been made permanent, and so that's good. It also increases the state and local tax deduction limits, which actually prevents double taxation on the same income by federal and state taxes from $10,000 to $40,000, and this is going to increase incrementally until 2030, and then it's set to return to the pre-bill level, the so-called pre-beautiful bill level. So just look to see some steady incremental, you know, deductions in your favor until 2030 over the next 5 years or so. So that's a good thing. That's good. Anytime you can take, you get an increased deduction, that's going to be a benefit. So I'm not going to complain there. As I looked at it, this was another I can see as a benefit across the board, but especially for seniors. This one, it seemed like it was aimed at younger workers, but there are some retirees that still work, even if it's on a part-time. They may be doing a hybrid retirement, and so this one, for people that's especially in service-based jobs, they will receive tax-free overtime and tips. So they're tipped up to $25,000, because we know most retirees, they can only earn so much before it starts to, affect your, Social Security, Medicare benefits, things like that, healthcare. You can only earn so much, but then it goes into actually, hurting you, because you're on a fixed income, and so you're just, you do have a ceiling. You can earn up to so much each year, and everything will be fine. If you go over that can cause some extra taxes, cause your Medicare premiums to increase, Medicare Part B premium to increase, things like that, your IRMAA. So this one, you have to really pay attention to it, because it is a benefit. I mean, I don't have to pay taxes on my overtime nor my tips up to 25,000. First 25,000 is pretty much tax free. That's good. That's a good thing. That's straightforward. No deduction, no nothing. It's just a tax free. That's a true tax cut. So I'll take that. So we got those taken care of. Now I want to go over here to these potential, drawbacks of the bill. Number one, there's really no sweeping. There's no sweeping relief on Social Security taxes. Really, there's there's nothing really like crazy standing out. Instead, it's the $6,000 deduction for the individual, $12,000 for the couple, under 75,000 income for the individual, under $150,000 for the couple. It's a consolation at best. It's more of a consolation. Many retirees, they will still find that part of their Social Security benefits are taxable, depending on the overall income. So there's a group out there, retirees, that make over, those thresholds, 75,000, 150,000. There are some benefits there, but not in this way. So that's one. There's, it was a lot of words, but at best it's just a consolation. Like you go to, I remember consolation. When I hear consolation, I think of consolation prize. For instance, then we all know the carnivals. You go to a carnival and all of these different games you can play, or you even see it on game shows. on TV game shows. It's a consolation. You didn't win the big prize because you didn't like hit the target or do what you were supposed to do to win the game. You didn't win. But as a consolation, we're not going to send you home empty-handed. So we're going to give you this consolation. And that's basically what the Social Security, that $6,000, $12,000, that's basically what it is. It's not a home run. It's not anything huge. It is a benefit. It is a consolation prize. So if you don't mind going home, you didn't win the big prize, but you do get a consolation prize here. So that's what that one is basically. The number 2, that's the one that really bothers me. It bothers me. All of these promises was made by the administration, during the election time. There would be, no, we're not going to touch Medicare. We're not going to touch Medicaid, this, that, and the other. And as soon as everyone was in place, DOGE with Elon Musk, all of the first thing everyone started eyeing was Medicaid, really Medicaid. Some of Medicare, mostly Medicaid. There's 71 million Americans that depend on Medicaid for health care, whether it's, their entire health care or partial. And this is where, this is the one of the areas that it really hurts. To help fund this big so-called beautiful bill, lawmakers, they've proposed major cuts to Medicaid. And this is probably the largest one in decades. For retirees, we can all, anytime you hear the word cut, there's going to be consequences for the retirees because, Medicaid, it is for 71 million Americans, it is a key safety net for long-term care. And we all know how important and how expensive long-term care is. That's covering services like nursing homes, in-home assistance, once personal funds have run out, and with reduced federal funding, states may limit benefits because Medicaid works along with the federal government on the state level. The state and federal government work together. So each state has their version of Medicaid. It's not it has different names and depending upon the state you live in. And so this one, depending on how healthy the state is from right off the bat, this one I think is going to be the one that hurts the most for retirees and seniors, because it's going to reduce. The federal funding is going to be reduced. States may limit the benefits because of the cuts. We already started sort of hearing that. Tighten eligibility. To become eligible, there's already some things you're going to have to qualify in a different way. Basically, they're just saying able-bodied people should not be receiving Medicaid. And I can understand where it's coming from, but the parameters and the eligibility requirements is just a little bit too much. And check into that. Each state, no matter what state you're living in, if you are dependent upon Medicaid, or someone, family member, friends, or someone, now is the time to really check what your Medicaid benefits are going to be if you actually keep them, because there were already people being cut from Medicaid, and this is going to cause even more cuts to happen, more people to lose their eligibility to Medicaid. And like I say, I have to stress, 71 million Americans, depend on Medicaid. There are 78 million baby boomers. So just look at that number. There's a particular generation. There's 78 million, 10,000 aging in every day into Medicare, for instance. And some of those, they need help. They receive Medicare, and then Medicaid also helps on the state level. 71 million potential Americans depend on Medicaid. So that's almost an entire generation in America. So that's why I say that one's very important. And last but not least, like I said, I could go on and on, but I wanted to keep this live short today because I wanted to focus on seniors. I didn't want to pile up too much information. I just wanted to give enough information to know the really important ones, and just to enough to whet your appetite to go and really see how your benefits will be affected here. Number 3, this one is for all of us, retirees, Generation X, whoever. This one will affect the young ones. During the election time, we're going to attack this national debt. We're going to attack the national debt, and we're going to create efficiencies and do away with the mess and the waste in all of the departments, and people being laid off, federal workers laid off, people losing their jobs constantly and everything. This so-called big beautiful bill being passed is going to add roughly $3.4 trillion to the federal deficit over the next decade. So that means it just created more debt. And we all know who pays for the debt in America. Who pays for the debt? We all know that. So over the next decade, look for the debt ceiling to increase by $3.4 trillion. And it will actually shorten the lifespan of the Social Security Trust Fund. So people all, the powers that be were always saying, money's going to run, Social Security is going to lose money. Social Security is going to actually run out one day. Well, this bill is going to actually help expedite the actual, the shortening of the Social Security lifespan. And that means also with increased, debt, higher interest rates will happen, and inflation. So this so-called beautiful bill is going to actually do the opposite of what was promised. It's going to actually increase the federal deficit, increase inflation, and increase interest rates over the next decade. While this big beautiful bill could hold potential, excuse me, benefits and risks, like I said, some of these are covered. They're just short-lived, and it just wasn't. I just didn't want to bog this live down with a bunch of, information that could really confuse things. I wanted to keep it short and go into the ones that was really beneficial and highlight those ones that was going to cause problems. And it's a lot to it. Like I say, it's almost 1,000 pages of bills. It's taken 1,000 pages, and I definitely was not going to sit and read all 1,000 pages. But what I come to the conclusion is that this bill is 1,000 pages that could have fit in 10 pages. It's not a big, beautiful bill. Big, yes. Unnecessarily big. Beautiful, no. It's just mediocre at best. The people that benefits, in America, this bill was unnecessary. It was very unnecessary. It was just something just to make a lot of noise. It's on one hand, it could offer some meaningful short-term benefits, especially, the seniors deduction and simpler filing processes. That is a benefit. That's why I put that one in number 1. But on the other hand, concerns about healthcare funding and long-term economic impact, that's just as heavy. So it really is just another balance. That's all that it is. It's really not no big major benefit for the benefit it did offer. The drawbacks are like bringing it right back to balance, and that's basically what the American system is all about: checks and balances. That's what it's always been about, checks and balances. So it was a big, real document, huge document with only a few pages of real benefit. But what it does cause it's going to cause you to really have to be on top of your benefits and understanding how this will affect you as an individual or a couple in retiree. I will do a live for the under 65 crowd, because they, we'd be affected in a different way. But like I said, I wanted to focus on the retirees for today. So with that being said, if you are nearing retirement or you are in retirement, this could be a great time to review your tax strategy with a financial pro who understands how these benefits might affect your income benefits and long-term financial health. So contact us. Our information is on the screen there. Go to johnmcentyre.com, call the toll-free number, and set up an appointment to really sit down and see how this will affect your individual situation, because this is definitely not the time. These changes, it's definitely not for someone to go at it by themselves, because it's already has the potential to do some harm, and you don't want to do any more harm than necessary than you have to, because you're trying to go at it alone. There's a lot of good professionals out here that can help, and I know some, and we can sit down and help you get through this. So I hope that this information was helpful for you. And if you, like I said, contact us, let us know. We'll let you know what we could do for you to help you get through this and walk you with it, hold your hand as you get through this, and understand what your situation needs to really benefit you. So before I go, if you're watching by YouTube, share it, like it, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching by Facebook, don't forget to share it. This is live. If you have those wallet wins, don't forget to share those wallet wins. If you have questions, give us the questions. I get most of my questions, they come in person, because I'm having these conversations with people, because some of the environments I'm in, I talk to people a lot, and they have these questions. That's why I did this show about the potential benefits and drawbacks of the big beautiful bill for retirees and seniors today. But you can always call us. You can contact us, direct message, and DM me, however you choose to communicate, just as long as you communicate, because we're here to help. So that being said, I will talk to you next time. Same channels, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We'll talk.